Hi, hi. Um, yeah, I've just been having a sleep, trying to get over my phone. It's a disaster, isn't it? Yeah, I had a look on online for a couple of sea anemone. That's sort of what your fuzzy reminds me a bit. I only found one that was interesting. I sent it to you, like that one, a huge leg. It looks a bit like a penis, actually. Um, yeah, and the other thing, uh, I thought I can't. I'll have to look for one of these too. We used to have a dog. Um, was a Schnauzer, Shih Tzu, something like that. Shih Tzu Schnauzer or something. Oh, I can't remember. And he used to have his hair in front of his eyes the whole time. It was cute. And then one of the neighbours, oh, that looks terrible, and cut it. So, and he used to love it. He'd get his paw and rub it down. And he thought he looked great because he looked out through his hair. You couldn't see his eyes at all. But oh no, the dead shit neighbour across the road wanted to see his eyes. Yeah, and sort of ruined him. I had him just nice and feral actually. He was, yeah, Coco was a I got him in the town where I grew up. Vaughan wanted a dog, so um, I picked him up for $20. He was a bloody pedigree dog. But what had happened was that the breeder, his wife had pissed off and left him with the dogs and the kids and the children. So the dogs had to go. And there were four little puppies there, which was lucky enough to pick him up. But he's a mongrel of a dog. Tiny little thing, skinny and scrawny. He had one meal a day, but he used to have this hair that went over his eyes, and it was just, I loved it. It was character. But then they clipped it off so they could see his eyes, and that sort of took away his defence, because I think the fact that you couldn't see his face sort of made him look more ferocious, and he was always patting it down. Yeah, I like it like this. That's good. It scares everybody. Yeah, I mean it's only tiny. Yeah. Anyway, yeah. So what I've been thinking. Oh God, it's just ridiculous. I was 50 something when I finally realised I might be an entrepreneur. And Jackie said to me, "You're kidding, aren't you?" I said, "No, no, just it's like unless you actually are something, if if you are something, you're then oh, like if you're a policeman, you're a policeman. If if you're a nurse, you're a nurse. But when you're an entrepreneur, you're not really an entrepreneur, or at least you don't think you are until you're actually successful at it, until you create something, until you get a product up and running. And I suppose that really happened when I got the business to work. That sort of qualified me as being like taking the idea and got the damn thing to work. As difficult as that process was, and laboriously, unnecessarily difficult. Yeah, but in the end, it worked, and that's made me an entrepreneur, I suppose. I just want to check to see what. Yeah, it's on. Um, yeah, so and I've I was sort of trying to create other worlds and that sort of thing with Nips and those people, and like it just I try to do a few different things similar to what we do here, or what I do, sort of put different ideas. And actually, what happened is it just became the same, as if the same chat from her part as if we're in a room. And it's exactly the same. And I started thinking about it. I thought, there's nothing wrong with her. And then I thought about Raf, and I thought about everybody else, and I thought, uh, because they're always saying, oh, you say too much, and they even said yesterday, you, you talk too much, and gives women the shits. I said, I've sent 54 videos to Boomba. She hasn't got the shit yet, and it's about 27 hours of full on just talking to her. And I thought it's um, because I wondered whether it was you, or whether it was that's making the difference, or whether it was the devices and the ideas I was using that was making the difference, or whether it was the fact that you were a Romanian that was making the difference. I had no idea, and I still don't really. But I mean, you're different, and you have the same problems I do. You say things and do things, and it just pisses people off. And this is what I do. Uh, but I mean, I'd have you in a room because you actually talk and get the conversation going. People, love you or hate you. They've got something to talk about, which is probably what they're doing with me. But I just don't want it anymore. I've just had it. I've just, I'm not there for the. I've got, I can watch TV or something. I just don't want to be there entertaining them anymore. And I think that's what I was doing with Raph the whole time, just entertaining her. I was like a real life TV, interactive. You're talking to somebody who can talk all the time. Most of the guys just want to get their dick out, and it's boring for them. That's what they're going to get from now. They're not going to get it from me for free anymore, um, and get criticised for it. And it sort of made me think maybe it's because I'm an entrepreneur. And I've noticed that other entrepreneurs, you hear about the successful ones, but you hear about a lot of others as well too. They can't handle it, because they're different, because they're out there, they just can't handle it. And here I am, 60, still trying to learn how to deal with it. It's almost like it's an affliction. It's almost like it's a sin. Um, so I think actually what I might do is just hang with entrepreneurs. If it's only you, it's only you. If it's nobody, it's nobody. But I think if they're not creating something or used to entrepreneurs, I just don't think I'll bother hanging with them anymore. It's just not worth it. Um, I can't explain why. It's just, and I look at it, and it's just this paltry little bit of text that I type out compared to what I'm saying here. Um, it'd be nothing. I wouldn't type this much in a year in a room. You know, uh, and this is the 55th video number 55 in 3 months, and it doesn't seem to bother you at all. Uh, and I think if it got down to it, I don't think, um, unless it was just slagging me, or I don't think they know what to say for half an hour. I don't think they could talk for half an hour, string sentences together for half an hour that would make sense in any sort of coherent form. I think most of the people I'm talking to, all they could do was say, "Oh, you give me the shits," or "You're a pain in the ass." Basically, what Sue was saying, really, um, and that's really all they seem capable of doing for the most part. It's a sad reflection, or um, and not much more. I don't know um, that's right or wrong. Nor do I care particularly. It's just uh, it's too hard for me. I think I'm trying to find a way to live in the world, probably more so than another world. Um, but I can't. I could do all of this, and then you could go through and criticise every point if you wanted to. I'm glad you don't, because it'd be just painful. And I don't really want my conversations pulled to pieces that much, because I'm all I'm saying really is I'm trying to. I have to find a way to uh, to exist, because it's getting worse. It's actually getting harder to for me to exist. I don't know whether it's the changing of the world or change in me. And I keep thinking, if I went and saw a psychologist, I'd say, "Oh, you got this wrong. You do this wrong. You do that wrong." I think, well, yeah, I'm an entrepreneur. We don't think about how we're coming across. We just we focus on uh, we really focus on our what we're trying to produce, what we're trying to make. That's or the world that we're trying to create, or whatever. But it's our creation we focus on. We don't focus on you know how do I react in this situation? How do I react in that situation? What sort of and how do I put a look that's going to appeal to people? And I hear it here. I even had, there was a guy living opposite here, or some time ago, and he used to lie about the fact that he'd given people things. Like, I gave his ex $500 or $1,000 to help the car registration. "Oh, gee, you're a nice guy, Gary." This is what they'd say. "Yeah, that's all right. Yeah, no, I don't mind." And then I found out eventually, because he was telling me that he gave the neighbour tobacco at $20 a pop. "Look, I don't mind. Just give it to her. She looks like she needs it." And I sort of thought, it doesn't. You don't seem to have enough money for just doing that, Mr. Nice Guy. So I asked Gwen. I said, "Gwen, does he give you money for tobacco?" He said, "What? He never has, the lying bastard." So it was all bullshit. It was all just like everything else that's happening in the world. It's just all made up bullshit. Garbage. Yeah, so, gee, he was in the shit for that. He didn't talk to me again after that, thank God. And nor did she. But, what she was doing was going what the Aboriginals call as walkabout. So she'd put the bite on people, and she did it to me. My bank balance was going to zero and less. I was going overdrawn, and I thought, nah, see ya. And she stung me for, I don't know, God knows how much, but not a lot. All right, but I mean, I just know. And then I said, you're going to pay it back? And I'm like, oh, geez, it's only $8. What's your problem? And I said, yeah, well, if it's only $8 to fucking, yeah, why don't you give it to me? But no, they don't. But they've got it all worked out. They've got all the reaction and how to put you down and that sort of thing. So I just don't give them anything. And I don't want to know them. And just see you later. I've learnt my lesson there. I have nothing to do with them. Yeah, but that's yeah, it's sort of, I don't know why I started this conversation or why I told you about Gary, but yeah, they just make stuff up. It's just more of it, more and more and more. And Hillary Clinton, thank goodness, isn't ill. She's running a temperature apparently. Yeah, the fact that she collapsed in the car was due to overheating on a cool day. Yeah, yeah, it's just amazing, isn't it? Yeah. I don't think they really care whether what happens. But the truth, it just doesn't matter anymore. But anyway, yeah. So I guess what my point there is that as an entrepreneur, you have to be honest. You're saying I was being nice about your fuzzies. No, I don't be nice. I was pleased I didn't have to be, tell you negative news. I'll be honest about that. I thought, no, it's good. As I mean, I don't know what you're going to do with it, but the workmanship looks good. Looks as good as your Rubik's cube. The thing you had. Yeah, it's good work. But it's, as I said, I don't know what you're going to do with it. But no, I don't. I'm not nice to be generous to you or anything else like that. I would tell you the truth. And as I said, I'm pleased I didn't have to, give you negative news. Yeah, but anyway, yeah. So I don't know what happens from here, but it's making me think. Um, I'm in two different worlds. Like as I've often said, as an entrepreneur, I've got to be very honest and what have you. And I'm living in a world that's of complete dishonesty and deception. Everybody's dishonest and deception, and they're trying to, put me down any chance they can. Maybe to make themselves look better. I have no idea. I don't care. Um, yeah. So, but I think I sort of realised it yesterday when talking to the caravan park owner that, yeah, it's two different worlds. I can't exist on that world anymore. I think that's what it is. I think it's the fact that you're entrepreneurial. Because you are like me, I don't think there's anything wrong with you, and I can't understand why you're treated the way you are by people. No, but still, that's the way they treat you, for whatever reason, possibly because you're different. Um, I don't know, but I don't treat you that way. Um, and maybe that's why we get along, because entrepreneurs are actually considered like a piece of shit. I think even when they're successful, that people find a reason to hate us one way or another. It's just like, I remember Bill Gates. Oh my God, didn't he get slagged? Uh, how much money can one man have? And I really, just enough's enough. And I just really, I don't know. It's just anybody that does anything like that, no, they're on them. And uh, I think it's just, stay away from them. See, the way I look at it, apart from anything else, and this is what I was going to talk to you about, I really believe in the Venn diagram approach, which my family never understood. Um, but there are several activities that are, like gardening is one of what I'm talking about. You don't have to, you can be male or female, doesn't matter. And you can put as little into it or as much into it as you want. But I mean, if you have a garden, you can talk about the garden. This is growing, that's not growing. Oh, look at the upside down plants, not growing well at all. This other, let's go, yep, that doesn't work. It doesn't seem to work. Yep. Or this is happening, or that's happening, or this. There's always something happening. There's something to talk about that you can look at and go, yeah, yeah. I mean, I suppose if you want to be dead boring, oh, you've done the wrong thing here, Bob. You've done this and done that, and I'm like, yeah, fuck off. Um, But like if it, for two people, say we were married, okay, and just put it in the garden, just yeah, that who cares? Some plants go. And next time you get a bit bigger, oh, okay, I'll do that next time. Right, but what I'm trying to say is a garden has many. You got different tools, but mainly a lot of plants, or seed or plant or cutting or all that sort of thing. There's a lot to do in it, and that's probably why it's interesting to older people. Um, Tools is another thing, either in a physical workshop like working with woodwork, very popular with older people, and but it's probably not quite as good because it tends to be a male thing. So if you've got a female doesn't really fit in, it tends to be a male and the male, they come around and look at one another's tools, or just check out what's happening. What are some other things? In entrepreneurial stuff, advertising and marketing and different things, we've got so much to talk about. There's just so many different ways to advertise. And you don't have to be male or female or particularly accomplished or anything else like that. I'll just show you this how we do this, how I do that, how I'll do, see how it, plus, you've got all these things that this is how I can make a movie. This, I'm not saying I'm good at it or bad at it or anything else like that. It's just different things to talk about, and eventually you can probably say, oh, why don't you do this, do that? Yeah, it's a good idea, we'll do that. That's it. When I was with Sue, it was only in the formative stages. It took a long time to and using really early, like the HTML web pages and that sort of thing. Pretty rough and pretty hard to. Oh, here he is. Pretty hard to use. Hang on, I'll just have to let him in. Wait a second. Here you come. Okay. Come on, quick. Gotcha. Quick, in you come. Oh, every time he goes out again. Out. I'm scared of you. Oh, Lord, okay. Yeah, he's in this time. He's right. He's got some bread there, and he won't eat that seed. He still hasn't tried that seed. Just bread and the water. And anyway, yeah. So I guess what I'm trying to say is, like it's something that I was Sue. It was more. It was just effort. Everything was. There was no fun in it. There's no. And you got a slap on the wrist a couple of times there for, in the early bits, when talking about, I want to buy this, I buy that. I either do or I don't, I don't know. But it's just sort of like, you know what I mean? It's like there's lots to see and do, and you can just watch it. It's like watching a man in the kitchen. The food's another one I meant to mention. It's a huge one. All the different tools you can get, all the different meals you can cook. It's just something to talk about. Make this or make that. I saw that. I thought we'd make that. Rather than just sit there and watch TV and just veg and let's get a pizza tonight. Yeah, okay. I want to go in the car and get a pizza. Yeah, you know what I mean. You can just. That's what. Now, food was another thing I tried to do, but it's just I don't know. It's the same. It's dead in the water. And I tried it with yesterday, with in the rooms and that sort of thing. No, I don't know. I don't know. We're on two different worlds. I think that's I was that way with Sue. Yeah, she had so many meals. I used to say to you, we could do that. We get tools and just pick items, pick things that were. I haven't tried sailing. I thought sailing would be okay. It's a clean sort of, neat, and male or female. No, didn't want to know about that. I wanted to go back to playing netball, which is what she had when she grew up as a kid. It'd be like me going back to shooting rabbits, or I wouldn't do it, or running, or something like that. But it's I guess that's how I look at it. I just look at things and think, look at all the potential, all the tools, all the meals, and you can go on. You've got the internet there. You can say, let's cook that, or that. And people say, no, I'd rather spend the $200 and go out to eat. Yeah, I suppose it's okay, but I mean. I'd rather just, it's just fun to go and get the ingredients and cook it yourself and make it, and I think anyway. But anyway, nobody wants to do that, so I don't know. But that's where it's getting to with the rooms. It's the same as, it's just it's not a relationship like you and I have. Oh, I tested it to see whether it was something else, but no, I don't know what they're on about. I don't really care. I think if it's sex, I've got No idea, no interest actually. But they say very little, and it's usually the same thing over and over again. You know, like you were saying, what do you want me to say, Bob? LOL. Yeah, no, I know what you mean. But yeah, no, that's and I think I've got to get to that sort of realization as late as it is that, you know, sadly it doesn't matter. And I've tried to change it, but you can't. It's just in people, they're just not that way. But I mean, I love it. I just think there's so many things around that you can use. But you know, I can see it when I think of it. I just see Sue's, you know, face in my mind. It's just blank. It's just like, God, what do you want to do now? And she just wants to sit and watch when she's not after she's finished working and busting her gut. She wants to watch singing and dancing on television. But see, it involves busting her gut. That's just how she thinks. And her sister's the same. It's just they ruin it. It has to be like it's not like doing paper trail, which I'm going to have done soon. But it's short and it's not exhausting. It's done, out of the way, finished. But see, Sue would never do that because it doesn't. It's not like it doesn't fit into working at a certain hours. And you know, people say, "Oh, gee, you're a hard worker." Yeah, I know it. Yeah. Oh well, you know, you've got to do these things, haven't you? Oh, fuck off. Yeah, I'd rather do paper trail and I'd blitz it and have a good time. Yeah, and but that's not Sue. Never was. No, she wouldn't matter, and it didn't matter. The outcome was always the same. Always the same. Just hard work. Yeah, I hated it. Couldn't stand it. And you, here you're proving that with because through knowing you, by being with another entrepreneur, I've just sort of paper trail for example. It's coming up. It's not a bad product. Whether it works or not, I don't know. But shit, in a short period of time, it's pretty good product. And you know, just about ready to go. It's not many people can get a product together inside a month or around a month. Makes me wonder whether that's the sort of product we need. Anyway, that's what I'm sort of up to at this stage. And I thought I'd share it with you. That was video number 55. Amazing, isn't it? What's that, about 30 hours almost of video you've watched. And these people can't even read a few texts without getting the chance. Isn't it? Okay, I'll talk to you later. Bye.